creating elements using the DOM. That's what today's class is about. So far we've learned about um, changing elements, basically mutating elements in the DOM using JavaScript. So now we're going to talk about creating elements. The DOM is a programming interface that represents HTML files as mutable objects. You've already learned about this. You have your HTML file and it turns into a DOM tree. And your DOM tree is something that your JavaScript can mutate. Now, you can also access your HTML nodes by using document.title, body, and also document.getElementById. These selectors allow you to select nodes that are already on the page and basically change attributes about them. Like inner HTML. Inner HTML can be used to change the content of an element. But we can also use DOM to create new elements on our pages. We can add elements to our page using document.createElements. So you put your document, create element is the function, and your parameter is the element that you want to create. So here you can see you pass in your string with your tag name. So if I'm making a paragraph, you want to put P as your tag name. And then what this line will do is it's going to create an element and save it in this variable. The parameter is just a string version of the element type. So if it's a div, it's going to be div in quotes. If it's a h1, it's going to be h1 in quotes. The variable footnote now stores a p tag element. You can also change properties about this p tag element, like inner HTML, styles, basically all the attributes you can change. To add elements, we can use append child and insert before. So what this does is it creates an element, basically like a node outside of the DOM tree. So you're not going to be able to see this. You're not going to be able to see this in your HTML. But if you use append child and insert before, this will attach those nodes to your DOM tree so that they'll be visible on the screen. So node.append child element adds the given element as the last child of a specific node. So let's say we have this HTML document and we run the script, which makes a new element and it sets the element's inner HTML. As soon as you put this line, append child, what it's going to do is it's going to put this footnote, which is this paragraph element, as the last child of document.body. So here you can see the last element in document.body is going to be this paragraph that you just inserted. Now, if you want to insert elements before other elements, so if you don't want the element to go to the last line, you can use insert before. So you do node, which is the node that you want to insert onto. New element is the element that you want to insert, so your paragraph element in this case, and existing element, which is the element that you want to put your new element before. So let's say you have the same exact page as before, and you have an H5 that you want to add. We're just going to put the inner HTML as add say by Carol. To do this, you're going to first choose your essay variable or essay elements, which is going to be the element that this heading goes before, and then you use insert before on document.body. So here you can see this H5 goes before the essay, and then it goes inside of your body. If you don't know which elements are children or parents of one another, you can use some helpful methods. So for example, we have first element child, last element child, dot children, and parent element. First element returns the first child of an element. Last element child returns the last child of an element. Children returns a list of all children of a parent. So let's say for the last example, we did document.body.children is going to return H2 paragraph, the script tag, basically everything in this body in a list. And then parent element returns the parent element of an element. So we'll talk about this in the sandbox. Okay, so speaking of the sandbox, we're going to, for today's example, we're going to use a list. Page lagging. Okay, so you're gonna have your HTML, your head, body, and then we're making a list. Okay, so first let's select this. Wait, I did this completely wrong. There we go. Okay, let's give this UL an ID of list, and then let's make a new variable called list. Okay, so this is what the example is going to be. It's going to be a list, and let's say our goal is to add a list item 4. So here you can see there's only 3 items in the list. Let's say we have to add a 4th item. So what we're going to do first is make an element. So does anyone remember how to make an element in JavaScript? It was in today's slides. Okay, yeah. So you have to use append, but that's after you use create element. So let's first use create element to make our list item 4. And then let's use document.body.appendChild. So in here, you want to put your element that you want to append. So we're going to use item 4 as the item, right? And then document.body is the node that we want to attach to. And if you refresh this, you can see it adds a new item, but it's not inside of this list. So instead of appending it to document.body, I'm going to append it to this list because I want the list item to go inside of the list. So instead of using document.body, let's use list. And there you can't see it, but basically what this did is it put wait, no, you're supposed to be able to see it. Sorry, I spelled this wrong. Okay, you can't see anything, but you still see this dot. And that means that it added a list item, but the list item is empty. So this should be really easy. How do you add text to your list item? It's very popular attribute. Yeah, you use inner HTML. So what we do is let's console.log out our item first, just so we can see what it looks like. So here you can see this is what it looks like. It's just an empty li, and there's no HTML inside of it. So if you want to add text inside of it, what we're going to do is we're going to do item 4 dot inner HTML is equal to, and then we're going to make a string and put whatever we want to put inside of our element. So I'm going to just use this text and then just change the index to 4. So now you can see the list item has this text inside of it, and you can see it on the HTML document now. Okay, now let's also say that instead of using append child, because we don't want to add an element right here, let's say we want to add an element in between 2 and 4. So to do this, we're going to first make an element and give it the right text. So we're going to say 3 instead of 4 because it's going to be the third element. It's going to go right here. And instead of using append child, because append child adds an element as the last element, so it's going to add it right here. But we want it to go right here, so we're going to use insert before, and we're going to use this list as our node because we want the item to go inside of the list. We're going to use item as the first target because that's what the new element is. And our second target is going to be whatever we want to put our item before. And we want our item to go right before this list element. So let's give this an ID of last item, I guess. And then let's also select the iteration node. So let's say last item. Remember, we're using camel case because JavaScript needs camel case. And then document.get limit by ID. Last item. And then let's use last item in our insert before too. So here you can see it puts your item right before the last item, which is the one that we selected. I'm gonna also edit its style attribute just so it's more visible. So let's say item.style, background color. Go to Okay, so this is the item that we're adding, and the item that we're selecting is last item. So we're putting this item before this item. Okay. Um, Now let's look at this these four attributes. So we have first element child. This is going to return the first element or first child of a given element. So let's try using this by doing console.log list.first element child. We can check our console. So it's basically giving us the first element in our list. Let's try last element child. So we run this, we get the last item, which is this one. You can see it also has a style, and that's because I'm giving it a style back here. Let's delete some of this code because it looks kind of scary. Okay. So yeah, it just returns the last item. Let's also try dot parent element. So for parent element, well, we could try on the UL first. So let's do list dot parent element. Can you guys guess what it's going to return? So if UL is the list, what is the parent element of this list? Yeah, it's the body. So let's run this. You can see it gives us the body. That's because the UL is a direct child of this body. Now, if we do one of these list items, let's say what list. Okay, I'm gonna get the first li, which is gonna be this one. And then if we try to get the parent element of this item, it'll give the UL because this li is inside of this UL. It's a child of this UL. Okay, now let's try to use not children. So you can see here, this UL, it has a lot of children, it has 4 children. So if we run list dot children, you'll see it gives you an HTML collection. It gives you a list of each of these elements or items. And the length is 4. That's because we have 4 LIs. Now, since this is a list, we can also use indexes. So let's say I want the first child. It's going to give me the first li. If I ask for the second one, it's going to be the second li. Let's say I want a paragraph that says this is the second child. Hmm. Sorry, you're going to see it gives you the second child, even if it's a paragraph. So you can see second child is paragraph. So now this list item is the third child. So if we put in two, it gives you the third child. Now, since this is also a list, you can use a for loop. So if we do for let I equals to 0, I is less than, and then there's 5 items here. So we can use 5. We can also do list dot children dot length. So what we're doing here is we're getting a list of all the children, and then we're getting the length of the list. And you guys know the length of the list is 5 because there's 5 children. And then we could just console it all log list uh, list dot children of I. So now if you look in the console, you get um full screen. You get all 5 of these list items, or all 5 of these children. Now what you can do here is you can actually use this I by doing list dot children dot inner HTML is equal to, and then this I. So it's going to go through every single child. It's setting their inner HTML to its index. So here you'll see on the screen, it gives you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you need, you only need these to find the parent and child. So you don't use these for anything else. Yeah, I don't think I use most of these except for dot children, just because it's easy to kind of go through a list of items using dot children. Because imagine you're working on like a big web page and you have 2 lists. And if you use dot tag name or get elements by tag name, it's going to give you both of these lists. So let's say I want to set this list to go from 0 to 4. If I use tag name, it's going to basically reset both of these lists. So this just lets me only affect whatever's inside of this list if I use dot children. Okay. Um, today's homework is 5 point, let me find it. It's 5.3. And if you look in the system, it should also be there. I updated the system. So it's create elements using nom. Both of these exercises you can do.